It'll be one to go this time by. Coming to the green, buddy, coming to the green. Let's go get him. Go, 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 go.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway.
Go upstairs to the press box for a question. Go ahead.
Aaron McFarling, Roanoke Times. Johnny, spotters and mirrors aside, you passed a Hornaday on the back straightaway there. Obviously, he was disabled. I mean, did anything go through your mind at that? But did you recognize that it was Hornaday there, and did it kind of register that not only are you going to get a win, but this is going to be a really big day?
Well, I come back. I'm going to say I didn't sure if I was going to win yet because the race wasn't over, but I saw Ron run out of gas on the front stretch. I couldn't figure out why he pulled over, to let Kevin by. So at that point in time, I looked up one more time on the back stretch and saw he wasn't in second. And that's one of the few times I did look up in a mirror to find out how much room I had and trying to understand what was happening. And then it kind of dawned on me because, Tripp was saying to save fuel, and I saved fuel from the beginning of that deal. And it's very hard to do when you're trying to pass somebody, but when you're just following somebody, there's a lot of things you can do to make that happen. And I did that, and to make sure that that we're going to have enough fuel. With the plate that we have to run, we've got to dump more fuel in it to make the power back, or at least some of the power back that they took away from us. So our fuel mileage wasn't as good as theirs, but I definitely spent 150 laps trying to save fuel. And a lot of those I couldn't, obviously, because I had to do some passing. But once I had a little bit of lead there, I started to save some fuel a little bit. And the minute I saw Ron drop off there, I saw how much I had to start backing off. And then when I saw the two do it, I only run less than half throttle. I was just trying to make sure that the 18 wasn't going to catch us and blow by us before we got to start and finish line. 'Cause it's better to coast and have a little bit of power than to have no power. So I pretty much pedaled that, and that's why I didn't do the victory lane and stuff, because we're in the same scenario, no fuel.
Just one follow-up. I mean, you talked about the watching the Cup guys this morning. Where were you positioned when you did that, and kind of how intently were you watching, or were you just kind of watching sort of and not really paying all that much attention, or how much did that help, I guess?
Well, it helped. I was sitting in turn one on our box, that's where we were parked at, and you get kind of dizzy watching them go through the corner there for a while. So I was just bored watching just certain people, and it's one of those things that race car drivers do and crew chiefs. You sit there and watch somebody go through the corner, and then you guess where they're at on the sheet. You can tell if they're good or bad or not so good, and I could tell right off that the 48 in the 24, and that looked pretty sporty. So I went over and looked at the speed chart, and I saw what they were running. They were pretty good. So I think some of that's just kind of a game to sit there and watch and see who's good and bad, and you just kind of guess where you think they are on the sheet. And that's all I was really doing. But I kind of learned a couple of things while watching them, and it's you learn something new pretty much every day at these racetracks, because there's your truck is never perfect, and you have to move around the track sometimes to compensate for what you got. So our truck is pretty good today, and I just utilized some of the stuff that I saw during practice. Even though our trucks are way different than their new car, but sometimes it can give you an idea of maybe how to attack the track. And I just started moving around and utilizing some of the things that I saw, and it ended up working pretty good.
And then we'll come up front. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jared Turner, NASCAR scene. Johnny, all day long, you and Ron were the class of the field. I don't think there's any question about that. Do you see this race as almost being like a microcosm of the whole season? And, how, I guess, concerned are you, or how obvious is it at this point that you're going to have to, race Ron for this thing down the stretch?
Well, at the beginning of the year, you knew you were going to race Ron for the championship. There's probably 5 or 6 other guys that we really thought were going to be in the mix with it. But, Ron and, Harvick's group are a very tough group. And, that's why they've won championships, and that's why, they've already won 5 races this year. So we're kind of on the same page they are. We feel that we're competitive. We feel confident with our team. And, of course, we've won 5 races now. So it's every year in these truck races, it comes down to the last lap at Homestead. So, You've really got to pay attention to what's going on, keep people in sight. Ron's going out and doing everything he can to lead the most laps and win the race, and we're kind of doing the same thing. And that's how we approach these races, and that's why I feel that we're probably 1 and 2 in the points. So it's just the things that you have to do is to still run fast, still run good. Whether I was leading the points or running second in the points, I'm not going to race these races any different. I don't. You look at the points, you understand where the points are, and you understand where you're at, but you don't look at scenarios of what it takes to think that what do I got to do in this race? What do I got to do in the next race? But it's always interesting. During the race, during one of the cautions, they were throwing it up on a board and showed that, I was 29 points behind him. And I was like, well, I don't care at this point in time. It doesn't matter. Race isn't over. So, it's one of those stats that I always laugh at when I see on the TV if the race ends right now. And so I thought, well, I guess that's all right. You start dividing in your head a little bit and says, well, if there's 4 races to go, 10 apiece, that it's going to be close. But in the same token, we really look at trying to go out there and win in a race and not worrying about that other stuff. But it gives me something to do on the caution.
Question here. Go ahead, Mike.
Mike Neff, frontstretch.com. 2 quick things, Johnny. Number 1, before you got by Horn today, you had challenged him for a little while there, and he held you back, and you kind of backed off and rode behind him for a while. Were you doing that to save fuel and so that you could make a run later or let his truck wear out a little?
Well, saving fuel and tires. If I thought I could have got by him, which I did, I tried to get by him. That's what my game plan was, but I wasn't able to do it. I knew it was already past halfway. I couldn't lead the most laps, so who cares at that point in time? So going back to what I said before, all I care about is winning a race, and so I knew at that point in time that it wasn't a time that I was going to be able to get by him. So I just basically got behind him again, saved some fuel, followed him for a while. Put enough. I wouldn't say pressure, but enough on him to make him keep going, and it ended up, working out for us in the end.
Second question, you're sitting second in points coming into this race. You're in the lead now. You won the race with nothing on the hood of the truck. Does that give you any worry about where things are headed for the sport in general and for your team in particular going into next year if you're having trouble getting sponsorship on the hood?
Well, it's always a concern. Being a points leader or second or running for a championship, you would think that you could, try to keep some type of sponsor on there. But, I drive the truck. I don't really worry about that part of it. But it's something that, is tough. So, we just got to look harder and try to find some people to come on there. And it's a great opportunity for them. And we just haven't been able to come across anything yet.
Any further questions for Johnny?
Well, I did today.
Up until today?
I would have thought that wouldn't have been true, but I don't know. I thought I've led some bush laps here. I know I've led some couple laps here, so maybe not in a truck. I don't know. I don't pay attention. That's your job, man. You got to pull up. All right, you got to look it up.
Johnny, thanks so much. Congratulations, and good luck next week in Atlanta.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Need 4 guys help me carry this clock. Yes, sir.